if you read the financial press, the great anxiety is that AI will prove to be an occasion for yet another stock market crash. By that I mean something a little bit like the crash early in the year 2000. For those who know the history a little bit, that is often referred to as the dot-com crisis, because the internet, which was supposed to revolutionize everything, had led it to companies having valuations in the billions of dollars, even though they had never made any profit, and there was no guarantee they ever would, and many of them never did. And so there was a hype, and there was a hysteria, and there was a bubble, and it burst. So the question is, are we in that territory with artificial intelligence, which is another step in the role of the internet and the role of computers and so on? And the answer is nobody knows, and everybody's worried. If you didn't know that, you should have learned it last Friday when the stock market collapsed because of anxiety about a number of things, including the AI bubble. Is it a bubble? How far into the bubble are we? And how near a crash might we be? And trillions of dollars are moving in and out of the stock market based on that shaky situation. The second way AI figuring is the question, will it have a significant impact on employment, by which, in simple English, will it create enough new jobs to absorb the jobs it renders unnecessary, or will there be a net loss of employment, particularly for white-collar workers? Now, the answer to that question is not clearly understood, and the answer will have to specify not only whether there's a net loss of jobs, but which jobs and over what period of time. And all of that is still unknown. So the most immediate problem is the risk that it produces a very destabilizing stock market bubble. That's the most important thing. As to whether or not it could affect economic relationships between countries, it already does. Part of the enormous achievement of China is to be right at the forefront of the technical development of and uses for artificial intelligence, where it is exploring uses, developing techniques, improving the chips and the speeds and so forth. So it is already part of the global competition between the two superpowers. And given our conversation over the last 30 to 40 minutes, here is another illustration of what is lying before Europe if it wants to salvage anything. Because Europe is obviously missing. The great struggle is between the United States and China. There's where all the breakthroughs, all the big companies, all the excitement are concentrated. Europe is not there. And let me be clear about something. My mother was born in Berlin and my father in France. I speak German and French. I was born in the United States, but I have a family in Europe and I am half European. It is a painful thing to look at the history of Europe over the last 4 centuries, the rise of capitalism, the demise of feudalism. Europe was the center of the world. It literally created the world economy through its colonialism, with all of the horrors associated with it. But it was the center. and it isn't anymore. It isn't even a player anymore. And that is going to drag the history, the culture, the language, the cuisine, all of it with it. That's what built it up, and that's what's going to tear it down. And so, one of the big issues, not yet explicit, but coming, is whether what you need in Europe is what you had in the past. You had a slave system. Before that, you had small independent peasant, then a slave system, then a feudal system, then a capitalist system. Maybe the future for socialism is to offer itself as an alternative way to rebuild a Europe, but not under the rules of a capitalism, but to jump over the leading countries that still hold on to capitalism and do it by means of a transformation from the bottom up. I know it sounds fanciful now. That's only because people are still reeling with the recognition of how bad the situation is.